C'est drôle de penser, c'est déjà 10 ans qu'on a fermé l'église. Et tout le passage qu'on a fait d'ailleurs pour aller vivre l'émotion de fermer ces églises.
We have another great show lined up for you tonight, so don't go anywhere. Stay right where you are. We'll be right back. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Robert Galesso, and I'm the host of Rob's Inner Circle, broadcasting worldwide. Thank you to each and every one of you for tuning in to what is going to be another exciting show right here this evening. The usual shout out goes out to our amazing producer, Jenny Duhame, and to our amazing technician on our show, Patty, Lady Starlight, Saragossa. It is birthday candles for the following celebrants. On February 23rd, Sonia Huggins Clark is going to be celebrating her birthday. And sharing birthdays on the 24th of February are Vincent Gargano and Justin Sane. To all of you, from all of us, happy birthday, and may all of your wishes come true. Daily Struggles, well, that's the sitcom that everyone is talking about on the Rise Up TV channel on the Roku streaming service. Download the Roku app on your smart devices or get the Roku stick on Amazon for as little as $30. Make sure you watch all our productions on the Bobby Short Shorts YouTube channel. Comment, share, click on the like button, subscribe to the Bobby Short Shorts YouTube channel, and hit the notification bell, because anytime there's a new production coming out, you will be the first to know. All of the Rob's Inner Circle merchandise is available at 514brandingco.com, and that's thanks to our collaborative effort that we have with birthday boy Vincent Gargano, and we have all our amazing merchandise in there, including mugs, cups, t-shirts, comforters, hoodies, you name it, we've got it. Folks, it is time to slip into our weekly ritual. It's time to sit back, relax, kick up your feet on the edge of the table, take a deep breath and let out the bad air and let in the good. We have a great show for you guys tonight. Folks, it's showtime. It is time to bring on our guests. We have three amazingly talented guests. There are three filmmakers. They're from Montreal. I can't wait to bring them on. Please help me welcome Eli Jean Tahchi, Sandra Mathieu, and Pierre Vilpelet. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Rob's Inner Circle.
Hello.
Salut, hi. Thanks for having us.
I promised you the hand clap. There you go. Hey, guys, such a pleasure to have three talented filmmakers as yourself. Thank you so much for coming on to our show.
Thank you for having us.
Wow, there are so many of you, and there's so much to know. So let's get the show on the road right away. Let's start off with Sandra.
Hi.
Sandra, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a filmmaker. More precisely, I'm a screenwriter, but I also direct my own movies, my own stories. And I got to know my colleagues, Pierre and Eli, while I was at Lebanese. And while I was at Lebanese, it was a program that was sponsored by Netflix, which, was geared towards people of different communities, like cultural communities. So we were the first group that was, part of this program, financed by Netflix. And I was in the screenwriting group. And I also, prior to Lebanese, I wrote and I directed a few projects such as short films and web series. And after Linus, while at Linus, I was doing projects, of course, obviously. And after Linus, I'm still working on a few projects such as documentaries and web series. And yeah, the projects are coming along pretty soon.
So you're a very busy lady, Sandra.
We try.
So let's get to know our next guest, Mr. Eli Jean Tahchi. Eli, what, what makes Linus different from other schools? In other words, what are their prerequisites to be able to enroll there?
Well, Inis is a school very known in the industry, first of all, and it's destined for professionals that are like who studied like cinema before, who made like films, who had like an experience in cinema or like in a field like complementary for cinema. And it's like a program of 6 months, very intensive, where we can do like many different projects from documentaries to fictions to TV shows. So yeah, basically it's that you can go and check on the website that they have different programs for different format or genres of films.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, Eli.
My name is Eli Jean Tahchi. I'm a filmmaker and screenwriter from based in Montreal, but I'm from Lebanese origin. So I was born and I grew up in Lebanon. I studied cinema in Lebanon. Then I moved to Montreal. I did a master's degree in film studies, and I started like making short films, fictions, and documentary, exploring my vision, my voice in this field, and I tried to showcase these films in film festivals around the world. And then I did this program in Atinis, the mixed programs with partnership with Netflix. And I met these beautiful people that I had this chance to develop and produce and make this film Fissure that we are showcasing.
Well, let's talk to the other one of the beautiful people along with us tonight, Mr. Pierre Vilpelet. So, Pierre, tell us a little bit about yourself, Pierre.
Hi, everybody. I'm Pierre Vilpelet. I'm an emerging producer. I came from France. I arrived in Canada eight years ago, I think. And I had the chance to meet like Sandra and Eli at the INIS, which is the Institut National de l'Image et du Son, where I was a student in the same program, like the Netflix mixed program, which is have the specificity to gather documentary, fiction, and live shows. So it's three specialties we are getting together. And we worked on this, I hope, wonderful short documentary called Fissure, or The Crack. And it's been a journey. We had the chance to discover the area of Hochelaga, then the people of Hochelaga, and we found a story and a beautiful character and environment that Eli and Sandra tried to testify with success, I guess. So yeah, I had a chance to accompany the project and to produce the short movie.
So you're originally from France. Which part of France are you from?
I'm from Versailles, City of Kings.
The City of Kings. There's a lot of cinema going on in Versailles?
Yes, there is a RNC cinema. There is plenty of cinemas. There is 4 cinema for not so much big town, but I was had the passion to see movies, documentaries going through my family. So yeah, I follow my heart, and I became also a member of the community of cinema and documentary.
The closest I got to Versailles is actually Place Versailles in Ville d'Anjou. Oh. That would be the shopping center for all of you international fans here. So, as you were growing up here, tell us a little bit about yourself. What was it that you were looking at? What were you aspiring to be?
I'm not inspired to be somebody, but I'm really starving to produce good movies, good documentaries. I'm working in a production company called Peripheria in Montreal, and I get hired as a emerging producer, and I want to help filmmakers, writers, talented, especially from the underrepresented communities, to build their project, to support their project, for in fiction, in documentaries, maybe in series as well. And I'm passionate about that. I want to gather people who got a vision, who want to testify, about their reality or other realities. And I want to be involved in this kind of project and help them to show their film to the world.
Well, we have a film producer who's tuned in tonight, our friend Teresa Pichano, and she made a comment saying that she absolutely loves Linus. So there must be some history between Teresa and Linus. Teresa, if you have any experience that you had with Linus, please let us know. Don't be shy. And before we go back to Sandra, Pierre, what is it that attracted you to come to Canada?
It's a beautiful country, really attractive. Justin Trudeau was a nice guy. No, but it's. I think I was attracted by Montreal first because it's halfway between USA and Europe. There is a real European side here on the culture, it's a border between two different societies, and I think Montreal was a good city because we could take like the American side, which is where everything is bigger. You can do your own path and you can do your own journey on what you want to do, on art, on growing yourself as a person. But also there is a European side, really involved in culture and reflecting stuff. So yeah.
Have you been to Quebec City? Any of you?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Have you been to Quebec City? Because Montreal does have that European flavor, but Quebec City even more.
Yeah, but I came from Versailles. I lived several years in Paris, so I didn't want to go to a too quiet city because I like the energy of big cities, so I choose Montreal. No offense, Quebecois.
Sandra, so tell us a little bit about your background. When you were growing up, did you have this urge inside of you to be a filmmaker?
When I was growing up, I was always attracted to stories. I think we all are, but I was always like submerged in some books, or I would just escape and just find like peacefulness in like a book. So I was like really like attracted to that like storytelling aspect of things. And I was also very curious, like while watching a movie, instead of focusing on like the movie itself, I would focus on like the details, like little details that would just catch my attention and that I would just want to know more about. And that curiosity led me to choose a class in high school. We had different type of class that we could choose, like photography or any other class, but I had also a choice of choosing a video class. And it's during that class that I had my first experience, hands-on on projects, on editing, and on watching movies and analyzing, like analyze movies and stuff like that. And I fell in love, and I was attracted to pursue that that way. So I went to college in television broadcasting, which was pretty technical, and it was it kind of fulfilled that desire to get to know how it's made behind the scenes. And it was not so much it was not so much showing the storytelling aspect of things. It was more technical. So after I was done with that program, I went to LUQAM to study screenwriting, and I fell in love. I felt like I was in my field. I was in my comfort place. And after that, I had the opportunity to go and pursue that. But in between, I did projects on my own and in an independent way. So I was like producing, directing, writing, editing. I was pretty much doing what you did, Robert. I was a one-woman show, so I was like a one-woman team. I mean, so I was doing pretty much everything. And then I was I had the opportunity to go to Lebanese to just work on my craft, on my writing craft. And that's what I wanted to do. I know I can do pretty much everything, but I wanted to just perfect myself in that field more. So I went to Lebanese, and I don't regret it. It was like such a great experience and such a life-changing experience for real. So I really don't regret it. I really loved it. And I got to meet, like amazing people. We were 3 screenwriters, 3 per group. So 3 screenwriters, 3 directors, and 3 producers. And we got to, mix up the teams. Like for the documentary, we were all 3 of us. But, for the web series, it was a different team. So you get to know how you work with certain people, and you get to learn about yourself as well. I learned a lot about myself while I was at Lebanese. I learned a lot about what I want to talk about. What is it that I want to talk about? What's the subject that are dear to me? And yeah, so I'm really happy, and like the road is still ongoing. So
After what you just said, if anyone does not fall in love with Lebanese, it just that was the best publicity Lebanese could have gotten. And we also got an answer from Teresa why it is that she talks so favorably about Lebanese, because she took classes in TV series pitching, production, technical film editing, etc. So it's nice, that you're on and you're talking about Lebanese, and we have an audience member who's backing your claims, saying that Lebanese really is a reputable school.
absolutely, it's like it's like your door to the industry. Like before Lebanese, you're kind of doing things on your own, and after Lebanese, you kind of have that, like that push that you needed to keep going and to push your career, on another level. So yeah, it's a good thing.
We're going to be going to Eli right now. Eli, you directed the documentary Fissure, which was the opener to our show, which was a joint project between you, Pierre, and Sandra. So tell us how the whole idea of Fissure came about. What happened? How did you get this underway?
Well, it was a very special context, because the first project we got to do at Lebanese is to shoot a documentary in 1 month and a half. So the exercise was to pick a metro station and go find our subject, our theme, in the 3 or 2 kilometers around this metro station. So I picked Hochelaga, and I visited occasionally Hochelaga, but I didn't know the zone. So I went scouting, and there's lots of stereotypes about Hochelaga, so I didn't want to go to the obvious options in this area. And then there was a church open, and it's very rare in Montreal to see a church open. So I was curious to go inside, and there was the journey of heritage, and there was a student who's doing a kind of an exhibition, and I met Jenny for the first time, the protagonist of the film, and she told me about the destiny of this church, that they don't know if they will sell it very, very soon. They don't know the future of this church, and I was very I was at that time reading about the actual issue about the heritage and the architecture and the churches, how they are selling them to transform them into condos. And this idea, regardless if I'm have faith or not, this is not the question. It's more like about how can we transform these places, these architecture, these beauty, and this into condos. So I was intrigued, and I was really, when I met, and then I pitched the idea to Pierre, to Sandra, and they were interested to collaborate. And then it was a whole teamwork. We did some pre-interviews, and we were touched to see that behind the church and behind the institution, there is people that are vulnerable, people who are experiencing some sort of loss. They are losing their place, they are losing their history, and they are still fighting to keep this church. There was a story about the basement. There was some fighters. They doing some sort of boxing, what we call it, I don't know, wrestling. So, but after it's a very short film. It's 13 minutes, so we couldn't include everything. So we decided to concentrate and to focus on the story of the portraits of the Père Robert and the coordinator of the church, Jenny Duhaime. They are still fighting, and they are living through this kind of deuil, this kind of loss. And we were touched for this, and we did it.
So, Pierre, this question is addressed to you. Our podcast producer, Jenny Duhaime, who played in the documentary, delivered an astounding testimony, which is very powerful, touching, and a great introspection into our churches of today. Her colleagues, Julian and also Abi Rabbi Alal, are present in the film as well. So that was quite an amazing film.
Yeah, we were really lucky because like Eli said, at our first scouting in the area, we are looking for good stories, and in documentary, it's often the case that you are looking for a character, especially you got something in mind, and you are spending a little time with the character or a fixer or something, and sometimes you are not looking at after a few days or a few weeks, you are not looking for other subject because you've got your own documentary under your eyes, which is your fixer, your character. I think it's really interesting because we are looking for at the beginning to shoot with the wrestlers. We are really interested in the opposition between the wrestling, which was taking place in the basement, and the abandoned church at the main floor. The angle was really interesting for us because it was some kind of païen mess and an empty one at the top of it. And finally, Eli and Sandra, through discussions, through talks with Jenny, they discovered the whole story of the church and what happened, and how in old Chagall a church closed year after year, so there is not so much left. And the subject was in front of them, so we had the chance to just make a testimony about the loss of faith, the loss of the patrimony of Montreal, to talk about sociological subject, which is what place does the church was taking in the society these 50 last years. So it was more than just a church, more than just a priest, or more than just a bunch of people fighting for their church and their paroisse. So it was a bigger story than what we were expecting. So it's the beauty of documentary, which is it's a cinéma du réel, as we say in French. It's a cinema of real life, and sometimes it's bigger, it's more interesting, it's more touching, it's more vibrant than a script one. So yeah.
So Pierre, how long did it take you to shoot Fissure?
In fact, we had 1 month, if my remember is good, to find a subject to make the pre-interviews. Sandra was really involved in it, and after we had 2 days, we had 2 specific days, so we had to manage to meet the people at the good time, to be able to chill with people, to get time to know them. We wanted that they trust us. Not we didn't wanted to go and say, okay, go there and direct all the stuff, because it's documentary. It's not a live action. So we had only 2 days to shoot. But in documentary, we used to shoot for year, for maybe sometime weeks, months, years, and at the end of the shooting, we are editing, and we are looking what we want to put in place. So it was a really strange exercise, but it was fun because we had challenges and everything. But maybe Sandra can talk about that, because she has a really specific role in it, because she was scouting, she was writing also, co-writing with Eli, but she had the original idea, and we had to follow her, and she was feeding us with the content and the discovery she was going through. So maybe Sandra, if you want to talk about the idea and
So Sandra, go ahead, pick up on that. Tell us a little bit, and don't forget to tell us what happened as well. You were supposed to have the wrestlers in there, but something happened. So go ahead and pick up from where Pierre was talking, and the stage is yours.
Yes. So yeah, as Pierre was saying, at first we wanted to do kind of a comparison of two practices, one that is in decline and one that is more on the rise. Like in decline, it was the faith aspect with the church, and the one that was on the rise that was more popular was, like the wrestling that was happening downstairs, that was like full of people. So we wanted to make a comparison between the two subjects. And we, like the wrestlers were not really into it, because they thought that we would make fun of them, because a lot of people have approached them in the past and that have made fun of them, and we were like, so trying to convince them that this is not the goal. We're not trying to make fun of anybody. We're just trying to showcase and see people, like we just want to see humans, like we just want to tell a story about humans, and their passion, and they're passionate about their craft, and we wanted to showcase that. And they kind of like wanted to do it, but at this last time they let us down. And I think it's the biggest, we were very disappointed at first, and we wanted to replace, we were trying to replace the wrestlers with another thing, because we didn't want to let go of our idea of a movie of comparison. But I think it was the best thing that they kind of let us down, so that we just had to readjust, and we really didn't need that aspect in the movie. We had two very strong people, like Jenny and Pastor Robert. And Jenny, what brought us to her, what attracted to her, was like her realness, her passion. Like she was so passionate about everything. She was passionate about the neighborhood. She knew everything about the neighborhood. I remember with Eli, we were walking with her around the neighborhood, and she was telling us about every building and the story about every building, and it was pretty impressive. It was like, how do you know everything about the Hochelaga? She's kind of like an encyclopedia of the neighborhood. And she was very, like concerned about, like the decline of the faith. And we were like, we don't really need, anything else. We don't need like, the extra. We already have what we need in Jenny and Père Robert. So we really put our focus on her, and I think that's what made the success of the movie. It was just a very intimate movie about a struggle and the the battle of a woman who's trying to keep her church alive, and alongside the priests. So it was pretty. I think that's a pretty nice metaphor, to have this little lady with this big, structure, which is this church, and like the faith. And I think it's a pretty strong image, and I think we did good at the end. We didn't need the extra stuff. We just had two very good people who had a lot of stories, a lot of things to tell, and that's what made the movie what it is. And I think that's why it was it's pretty much like a subject that is everybody can relate to. So that's why I think it was well received in another country, which was Switzerland,
We'll be
because
talking
the
about
kind
that
of
in
the
a minute.
faith is pretty much a universal thing happening. So anybody can relate to that. So I think that's what it is.
Well, it's a good thing that the wrestlers weren't able to collaborate, because it brought you to highlight the real story behind the church and collaborate with the admins at l'Église Saint-Clément de Viauville. So it didn't turn out to be a bad thing after all.
No,
Exactly. What? Yeah.
it was
Go
a
ahead.
sign from God. A sign from God, finally.
So, Pierre, I want to go back to you. I want to congratulate you on your Farrell Award win on this project. So, tell us about this international festival and your time that you spent in Switzerland.
Oh, it's Eli who went to Switzerland, so he will
Oh,
be.
Eli went to Switzerland. Oh, I'm sorry.
He was our delegate.
He was a delegate. Okay,
Yes.
so Eli, you take over. Sorry.
Well, I was lucky to represent the film and my Sandra and Pierre at the Farrell Film Festival in Switzerland in Neuchâtel. So it's a festival would take place like each 2 years, showcasing films about ethics, spirituality, and religion. So there were like filmmakers from around the world with their documentaries, with their fictions about these topics. It was like around 5 days. We were watching movies after movies. And yeah, I was so happy at the end that the jury appreciated really our short film, and we won the first prize of the short film. And they were really touched, because this subject about the churches, the loss of these churches, of these places, and the conversions of these churches into condos or other spaces is very universal. It's happening in Europe. It's happening in many countries, and they were really touched, by the movie. So I came back with the trophy, with the Farrell trophy, and we celebrated. And it was a really nice trip.
You wouldn't happen to have that trophy handy right now, would you?
No, we gave it to
Okay, so Sandra, why is it that whoever named the movie, why is it that you gave it the name Fissure or Cracks?
Oh my gosh, that was such a journey, because we were going back and forth, and we were trying to pitch ideas of a title, and nothing was working. And I think it was during the editing. I think they were editing. Eli was editing, obviously, and it was watching the footage so many times, because that's what it is when you edit. It's like you keep watching the same thing over and over again, and watching like the image of the fissure. He kind of like proposed that to us, and it kind of grew on us. We were like, okay, like I wasn't that convinced at first, but Pierre kind of liked it, and Eli liked it as well. So I just went with it, and I think it's the best. It's the best because that's like that just sums up the movie pretty much. You know, fissure. It's like there's a crack between, you know, between the faith and there's, you know. So I think it's the best idea we could have think about.
Well,
we
now
didn't,
that
we didn't have that idea at first. We went through so many other ideas which didn't go so well with the movie, so we didn't keep those ideas. And then Eli was like, "What about fissure?" And it kind of grew on us.
and don't forget that there's a big crack in the wall where the organ is.
And
That's why.
for me, it's like not the best image, but it touched me a lot during the scouting and during the shooting to see this crack in the wall and the story of the organ, how it was sold to another church because they needed the money, etc. It touched me a lot, like as if you're obliged to like sell some stuff from your house to keep living, to keep surviving. So at the end, this shot of the crack in the wall, like with the sound of the organ at the beginning, yeah, it was like a very important moment in the film.
And it was also a great symbolic because at the end of the day, the movie is about, it's a testimony about what crosses when our world collapse. So it was, the crack was the symbolic of the collapsing of our world, of the society and the micro society of Jenny, the church, and everything. And it's funny because there is also some like around, there is a crack in the middle at the top of the wall, but there's also magic stuff happening in the church. And maybe Sandra or Eli, you can talk about this because there's some magical, some holy events about water in the church, and there's there's some.
Well, before either one of you elaborates, the organ has been sold to St. Dustin's Basilica in Charlottetown.
Yeah,
so that's where the organ is right now.
Yes.
So to carry on the conversation, taking over from Pierre, either Sandra and Eli, or both of you, whoever wants to take over what Pierre was saying.
Well, you talking about magic or magical stuff? There's no ghost or anything. Just to see, I don't know if it's the water. There is like, for me, for example, when I go into a church, when I go into a mosque, we say like mosque. When I go to places big and spiritual, I always feel like some sort of energy. There's energy there. So it's nothing about like magical stuff, and at Saint Clement, the room where there is like all these statues of all these saints, Jesus, Saint Clement, everything, there is like some kind of energy. We hear some water. There is like some sort of water leaking in the church. It's sad. It's sad to see sometimes these places just taking and keeping in that way. And there is some sort of beauty also, the beauty of this architecture, the history, the heritage present. So yeah, I guess all these elements like create this magic that's present in this church.
So to keep going on the subject of fissures, which other festivals has fissure been screened?
If I remember well, there's Longue Vue sur le Cours, the Farel Film Festival in Switzerland, the Wuhan Film Festival, I guess Far East country, I don't remember where exactly. And recently at the Rendez-vous du Cinéma des Documentaires de Montréal, RIDM,
there. Yeah, there's also les Perséides, but which.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's fun in the distribution of this movie is we finished the movie in I think in March 2019. So it was the beginning of the pandemic. We weren't sure about anything. The movie theater were closing. No festivals, no events, nothing. So we were a bit desperate by the fact that nobody will like see our documentary ever. So the rencontre internationale du documentaire du Moral did an online edition where we weren't selected. So for us, it was okay. It was done. We missed the shot, and okay, let's go with the luck. And finally, 2 years after, we get selected to Les Perséides, which is a movie festival for really independent movie, and I love a lot and I respect a lot because there is really people. It's really respected by people from the industry, and we had the chance to be selected. We had good words from the audience, and we had the chance to go to the RIDM then, and then to Switzerland. So it's a reborn of a kind of documentary, which had pretty much no chance to be screened because
is it playing anywhere right now where we can view it?
These days, no, but maybe it will be available on different platforms because for the short film, it's another industry, so we have to wait for a special event about certain thematics like religion in the society or some stuff. So we have also maybe some slots left to be screened, but not at this day.
Okay, does Netflix still offer these types of programs for Lebanese or other schools?
It was a 3 years contract for Netflix, so we were the first year, and then the pandemic hits, and they still continued, with another cohort. So they had a second one, but instead of three people per field, like 3 screenwriters, three directors, and 3 producers, it was only 2. So instead of 9, there were 6, and they have another one going on right now, but it's only 2 instead of 3 because of the pandemic, like in the distance and stuff like that. They couldn't have too many people in the classroom, so they had to reduce the group. So I believe this year is the last year that they're doing it, and maybe they'll have another opportunity, in another form. But that's the last year. So they did 3 years.
So this question is open to all of you. What is it that you enjoyed the most about the making of Fissure? Whoever, whether it's Eli, Pierre, Sandra, what is it that you enjoyed the most about making this film? You had a lot of fun doing it. Nobody has an answer.
I guess for me it was like going outside my comfort zone in this project. So when I entered the Anis, I had no idea that I will be doing a documentary concerning the church. Even like I grew up in a very conservative town. The church was very present. I have a Christian background. The church was a place, and maybe that was like pushed me to really enjoy like doing this movie, because there is like some kind of something in my past that I connected with, and I channeled this idea to, because like doing documentary as a filmmaker, as creators, we should be open to be good listeners also to the other stories, to show empathy and to show openness. So I guess in this project I challenged myself as a filmmaker, but also as human beings, to be open to listen and not judge. And I always say while doing films, especially documentaries, I always wish like to put the audience in the shoes of the protagonist of the story, and just to listen and to be open to this story, and to forget about the barriers, the virtual barriers that the society put and separate us.
So after the project Fissure, have you three worked together once again? Is there other projects you've worked on since the making of Fissure?
As a trio, no.
As a
As
trio?
a trio, no. But you know, I think, yeah.
We're
Okay,
always like collaborating, you know, even like with the whole group of East, like with the other colleagues. We have our group. It's kind of a safe space together. We pitch our ideas. If I have an idea and I think like Sandra is the one to help me with this idea, I always like contact her. And if I just need like a creator just to read my idea and just to give me feedbacks, we have created this place like to collaborate. We have like some small projects like developing on the side, and we hope like maybe in the future we will have like another interview with you to talk more concretely about our new project.
Pierre, for the sake of the audience, we know what a producer does, but some people are actually asking themselves, what is it exactly that a producer does on a film production?
I think it's different for each producer because there is plenty of position, but in my case, it's there's like three different phases, which are like the first one is the idea and financing phase, which is the moment where you are discovering project, you're getting pitched, you are choosing, you are meeting like filmmakers, writers, screenwriters, and you are like building together an idea. Because in my case, I think a producer is also helpful. It's not just people who are looking for money to build the production, but it also people who can like give advices, give feedbacks, and accompany the filmmaker or the writer on his or her vision. So this is the first phase. So we are writing together, we are pitching together, we are going to financing the project together with the creators. Then there is a production stuff. So it's more like the shooting, the prep of the shooting, the editing of the project. For example, for the documentary, but in fiction, you also have the casting. You have the distribution stuff as well, which is taking place really early in the pre-production and in the financing phase. And then there is a distribution where you are making you're giving birth to the project, and it's another phase which is really different, maybe a little more business. You are selling the movie to the distributors, to the broadcasters, to the movie theaters as well. You are finding new partners to reach new audiences. Which platform you're going on? When? Are you going on festivals? Are you working closely with distributors, or are you selling the rights to other people who can go to other territories? So it's really different. It's a 360 occupation. You are involved in the creative stuff, but also in production stuff, legal stuff, in financing plans. So it's really funny because it's different from for each project, but every producer can produce his or her project differently. But you need to use many tools to give life to a project of movie, and collaborate also, which is really important.
So, Eli, you're originally from Lebanon, and you said you immigrated to Canada some 10 years ago. Okay. What is it that attracted you to come to Canada?
My friends. So my friends attracted me to come here. I was studying like cinema, and I wanted from when I was in Lebanon to do a master's degree in cinema outside Lebanon, just to open up and see other visions of making movies. And to be honest, I wanted to go to Europe at that time. I don't have any problem with Canada. I love it. I don't regret it. But just it was like very far, and I wanted to stay close to my country. But at that time, I had a lot of friends in Montreal, and they told me to search for like universities, and I applied and I got accepted, and then I had this urgence to come and start in this new place. And I honestly, what if it was now, I guess multiculturalism, I guess this is a very rich city with cultures. I met people from all around the world. I got to exchange like values, cultures, ideas. And for artists, I guess there is lots of opportunities, not just for fundings, but opportunities like to be open and to meet other people, and to have different visions of art, cinema, and life in general. Yeah.
So, Eli, are you considering going to Lebanon to shoot some footage, whether it be a documentary, a film, a feature? Is that in your plans?
There is no plan. There is a wish, a desire. I always wanted to make films in my country. I had my life with me in Montreal. Now I still make films here. I always try to preserve this identity of mine in my films. There is always a touch, like in my films, about my identity, about the community. There is a bigger community here in Montreal, but still, like one of my wishes one day is to be able to shoot whether a documentary or a feature film in my home country. I wish so. We can't hear you, Robert.
Okay, there you go. The microphone's playing tricks on me. There you go. There's a ghost in the machine. So collaborators like Hamza Saman, who is a casting director and actor in LA, and Zarka Nawaz, creator of Little Mosque on the Prairie, a CBC TV series, have been working on highlighting Arab culture in film and television. So do you feel we will be seeing more Canadian Arab content in the near future? And what do you feel is needed in Canadian culture to make this happen?
I guess it's not just about Arab filmmakers. I guess films, and whether TV series, films, documentaries, anything should reflect our society. And we guess there is lots of voices, lots of persons, multiculturalism in our society. And honestly, we can't yet see that fully on the screen. We need more representation, whether for Arab individuals, whether for Black people, for LGBT Q individual, whether with other like ethnics. I guess we need this kind of representation, and that's why we as filmmaker we have this responsibility. For example, Sandra is a screenwriter, and I'm sure, like I know the work of Sandra and how she always try to put these individuals in the story, because Sandra as a person and me as a person living in Montreal, I need to see this representation on the screen one day. And I guess there was like this kind of fight, and we're still fighting, and we're still at the beginning to make those voices more heard on the scene. That's what the media in Canada needs to reflect on.
So, Eli, you also have another film that was recently played at Elidzim, the film festival held in Montreal last November, titled Les Voisins dans ma cour. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, it was a residency I got from the Conseil des Arts de Montréal with SODEC, RIDM, and the National Film Board of Canada. So I wanted to make a documentary about the fence that separate since 1960s park extension from the town of Montreal. and showcasing the differences between the two neighborhoods. And usually in all my films, I try to tackle the subject of separation and segregation in a very metaphoric way, or try to nuance it in the films, etc. And this fence I was living like next to it, and it represents everything I was thinking about in a very frontal and direct way. This is the fence, it's separate. I wanted to make an experimental documentary, just witnessing what's happening from both sides of this fence that is still here in Montreal.
So we have the trailer to the Voisins de Macau. So let's take a quick look at this. Wow, that is an amazing drone shot. I'm just wondering how high that drone was flying.
If the drone was flying,
Yeah. How high was it? What was the? That looks really high.
the higher we could like fly, there's like some sort of very technical, whether the permit, etc. So I asked him to be as high as he can, but I don't remember how much.
That is just unbelievable. I love that shot, and it's so smooth. And of course, for those of you who don't know, a drone, at least the drones that I know of, there's no sound of the drone, so you had to add that sound in afterwards.
Yeah, sure. Like we had some sort of sound design and like yeah.
Well, you did an amazing job with that. I really like what you did.
Thank you, Robert.
As we're running out of time over here, we have time maybe for one question for each of you here. So, where do we go from here? What are your plans? Do you have any anything coming up? Do you have any big productions? Anyone want to go to Hollywood? Anyone want to stay here or film in France? So let's start off with Sandra. What are your plans?
My plans is to still continue to, write about subjects that are dear to me, that we need to hear about. And so I'm working on a few projects, such as a documentary, and and I'm also developing, other projects. So I'm in the Sorry, my my voice is kind of breaking, but so I'm developing projects such as web series and movies, and short movies. So that's the goal for the short term, midterm, kind of, yeah. So
the upcoming months.
The upcoming months.
How about you, Pierre? What are your plans?
I'm working with the main producer of the company. We are producing a big production this year at the beginning of summer. The next movie of Maxime Giroux, which is a talented Québécois Denis Villeneuve to be, we hope. And I also have a documentary directed by Will Prosper, which is a social activist, about the Freddy Villanueva's story, which will be a documentary that I think is going to shake the Québécois society, and also a short movie by Viozana Shkurti, which is exploring the story of on the queer perspective of during childhood. So, and we are also working on the development for the movie, including a long future with Eli, which is in development now.
And Eli, you get the last word. What are your projects in the upcoming months?
I'm more in developing like a feature film with Pierre, a web series, documentary. So I'm still exploring, and I think we have this opportunity as filmmakers to have this powerful medium to explore and to tell stories that have impact in our world. So that's my aim, like to be selective and to produce like works that represent me and as well makes a good impact in the community and in society. So yeah.
Sandra, Pierre, Eli, thank you so much for being on our show tonight. It was such a pleasure.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you for
And
having us.
we hope to have you back soon. And please let us know of whatever projects you're doing, because we always like to give a shout out to our past guests, letting the audience know everything that's going on with you. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was fun.
Thank you.
Bye.
There you have it, folks. Those were our guests tonight, filmmakers from Montreal, Eli Jean Tahchi, Sandra Mathieu, and Pierre Vilpelet. Don't forget to join us next week, same time, same place, when we're going to be hosting Montreal's own radio and TV broadcaster and weather specialist, Frank Cavallero. We'll see you next week. Stay cool. Stay out of trouble. Bye now.